friends, welcome to Knit 2 Cultivate 2. This is primarily a fiber arts podcast, but I get up to all kinds of shenanigans as I homeschool my kids. My name's Emily and I live in Midland, Michigan with my husband and 2 kids. Welcome. If this is your first time here, I hope you find something that you like. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks for being here. I am excited to be here myself. I have a nice cup of coffee with some cream in it, which I usually don't do, so that's decadent for me. And a pumpkin spice candle in the kitchen. And before anybody tells me it's not October yet, it feels like fall in Michigan. So I'm gonna burn pumpkin spice candles. I just have one announcement to make. Judith Botker, I still don't see an email from you. If you're having any issues with that, you can also message me on Instagram, and I have that linked below in the description box. So please let me know so I can know where to send your yarn. Other than that, I really don't have anything going on, and let's get to some knitting. I have one finished object today. I finally finished the French Market bag by Alexandra Tavel. This is a pattern that's $4.50 US, and I used Oh Baby Cotton by Lion Brand. I don't know what the color is. I don't have the button band, but I made a small version of the tote bag. The pattern calls for a worsted cotton. It calls for Lion Brand 24/7. And I was trying to use this up. I knew it would be smaller. I just used a smaller hook. And then the only modification I did was I shortened the handles because I just wanted a produce bag for apples or oranges or peppers or something in the grocery store instead of those plastic bags. I had 3 of these skeins to use, and this is the second one. So I have more than half of this. The hook size I used was 2.55 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm gonna go up to a 4 millimeter crochet hook and have it be larger. Because I have more yarn, and I shouldn't have any issues with running out of yarn. Another thing I'm gonna do if I am running out of yarn, it has you do decreases along this edge every other stitch. And so if I get to a point, and that's at the beginning of all of these rows, so if I get to that point, I'll just do them twice as much, and it'll be more of or less of a hanging portion on the side. It'll have less of this. So that would help me with yarn, but that'll give me a slightly bigger bag, and the 2.55 millimeter hook was just barely too small, where it was very fiddly to crochet. I needed to go up, but the next size I had was a 4, and I wasn't obviously gonna go to the store. So I went ahead and cast on and suffered through. So I am gonna try to do it with the 4 millimeter, and if not, I'll just go pick up a few hooks in between, because I had really, really small hooks for bead stuff, and then just regular sized or bigger hooks, but for larger weights, I guess. Anyway, I'm happy with this. I'm excited to use it. Farmers market season is, coming to an end. So it'll probably be something that comes out next year, or who knows, we'll see. I am bummed I didn't grab the brioche shawl. I'll grab it and bring it down for you guys next time. I blocked it, and I wanted to update on that. I blocked it, and it's not bad. It's just smaller than I like my shawls. I really like at least a 3 skein shawl. So it's not bad gauge due to pattern design. It's just not what I prefer, which is very different, right? It's beautiful. It may go in a gift basket. I've actually been thinking lately, I'd love to know what people think on this. How do you feel about regifting your knits? If I'm regifting a sweater to somebody, I have a few sweaters that honestly just got worn once or twice, and now they don't fit appropriately, fit in a flattering manner.
So if I want to re-gift those, does that count as a gift? I'm obviously talking about for like my mom and sister. I guess maybe that wasn't obvious, but I'm talking about very close family that would appreciate these things and want these things. But like, what if I wore the shawl a few times, but just decided I didn't like it? Okay. Anyway, I have a pair of Rose City rollers that I started. I showed you guys these last time. It is this knit using Knit Picks Felici in the psychedelic rainbow colorway, which I can show you. This blue stripe is a double stripe, which looking at it seems very apparent, but I didn't notice that. So first I cast these on and it had, because I do it by stripes, the cuff was like an extra stripe tall. And I was gonna leave it, but then I got to the decreases after the heel flap and I was doing the wrong decrease in the wrong spot, and so it looked terrible, and I didn't notice it until an inch in. So I just ripped it out because I wasn't happy with the cuff either, and cast on again at a different spot, which does concern me a little bit on if I'll have enough yarn, but I saved, not in here, I saved the part that I cut off and had used so that I can add it at the toe if I need to, but I should be fine. These are for my daughter, so they are the size small. Yeah, I don't think I have anything. I'm knitting them on a US 1. I'm on the first heel flap. I was gonna take this to our concert that we went to last night, which I'll talk about, but I wasn't allowed to bring my bag in, which was such a bummer. Sitting in a concert with ADHD is hard. Doing it with knitting is bearable. So that was frustrating, but yeah. So I have those started again, and I'm glad I redid them. I really loved this yarn, and even though they're not for me, I really wanted to like these socks, and especially when it's a mistake that I made. It's like my fault that they don't look good. I'm harder on myself than if it's, I don't know, the pattern or the yarn. I'm like, yeah, I won't take it out. But if it's my fault, I'm real critical. Next, I have the Millie for Men. I'm making this for my husband. I should have pulled this out. Oh, I did more on this than I thought. I was making my notes and said, oh, you bound off the body and cast on a sleeve. You haven't even finished the sleeve. That is a lot less knitting than you thought. No, I did a shawl collar too. I don't know if you'll be able to see the shawl collar, but it's a really nice ribbing. This is gonna be really hard to picture, but I have a sleeve too. So here's one shoulder. Oh, it's huge. I have a sleeve started. Pulling isn't too bad. It is stripier, obviously. I really, really love the shawl collar. I don't know how much you can see. I'm hoping it's pretty thick. I hope it lays well around his neck, but it has a really nice I-cord bind off around the whole thing, and I like that because it opens up the ribbing some naturally. It creates a really sharp look. So this is going well. I'm glad to be at the sleeves and not the shawl collar, because the shawl collar was very, very fiddly. It was a lot more slow going, especially while alternating skeins. It just was, and it was all short rows, so you're flipping your work a lot. So it was a little fiddly, and the sleeves are fiddly too, but I have, I think I said that, 3 decreases left, and I'll be to the ribbing of the first sleeve. So I'll definitely have the second sleeve cast on next time, but I might have this finished by the next time we talk. It's been my at-home knitting project because it's so large now that I have to have it, stay seated. It's not portable, so I haven't been working on it nearly as much as I was, but I still am really enjoying it. I'm still really bummed that this yarn is out of stock and that the sweater is not for me. So
It's pretty good yarn in that case. For plotting and purchases, I don't really have new things to talk about with you guys. I'm just gonna touch on 3 things that I previously talked about, but I'm updating. So the Spooky Sweater Knit Along by Pretty Twisted Yarns runs until October 27th, which I remember because it is my sister's birthday, which is cool because it's her birthday. That's why she's running the knit along. And I'm gonna knit the Jack Skellington kind of Christmas Halloween mix-up, Nightmare Before Christmas sweater. It doesn't leave a ton of time since I'm still working on my husband's cardigan and want to finish that before casting this on. But this week I might try and dye up the yarn for it. I still want it to be shorts or long sleeves, I think. Oh, it's gonna be kind of close. It might end up being a short sleeve sweater. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna have time for. This is a knit along that I kind of just saw, wanted to do, but I had something on my needles already, so I didn't cast on yet. But I might not get to that one. But I am gonna knit that sweater, so I might go ahead and dye up the yarn just in case. I really want to do this one. I think I am gonna dye it up this week, and that should give me 4-ish weeks. It's fingering weight, but it is mostly stockinette, so it's good school knitting or school, I don't know, whatever I call what I do while I teach my children, that kind of knitting. But anyway, the other thing I want to talk about is the piano scarf. So I still have not cast this on. We have had no nights this week where we are home and it's calm. I keep waiting for an evening I'm at home to pick up the stitches and start, and I just haven't. At first I was waiting on a set of needles, but now I just need an evening to sit and do it. Tomorrow I should be good. So I think I'll get that cast on tomorrow evening, and then that shouldn't take too long, but I really want to get that done. That is one of the reasons why the Spooky Sweater Knit Along might not happen. I really want to get this gift done. This is a really important person to us, and I really, really want to ship it off. So I want to do that first, or do that too. So I don't know. We'll see what I end up choosing. I'm obviously very back and forth on it, so we'll see. The last thing I want to talk about, I want your opinion on things. Well, I mean, if you would like to give me your opinion, please give it to me. I have the yarn for my Mizarina, and I dyed up the contrast color, and it's not contrasty because this was going to be navy, and I needed to add more dye, which would have been fine to continue and do, but I loved the denim that it made. It's very evenly dyed. I loved how this yarn turned out, and both skeins turned out wonderfully. So I stopped, and then this is too dark. So I went through my stash to find a few choices, and I have 3 things. I have one that I like a lot more than the others. Okay, so one of the choices that I have is a full skein that was just in stash, Adalaide Fiber Company. This is Victoria fingering weight, which is a 85 superwash merino, 15% nylon. And it is in the colorway Peace, Love, and Yarn. And we'll show it to you up close. Kind of pastels. And these would be them together. I, now seeing this on camera, really like it. I thought I had my choice picked out, guys. All right, this is the second one. I am not sure what this is. It was a sock yarn, and it is pink pastels with blue and pale greens, some speckles. It's hard, it's really hard to see. It is blowing out. But let's see if you can see them together a little bit. And then lastly, I'm gonna show you a picture of something someone did where they had 2 different contrast colors. They did the neckband and bind off on the sleeves in that extra contrast color and the flower. And I think like the butterfly antennas. So the 2 choices, I don't have enough of either of these to be all of it. So this would kind of be perfect. But the 2 that I have, this I got in Denver somewhere. This was Emma's yarn, Beauty Queen, I remember. I don't know the base. But I have these to go with this. And this is what I was leaning towards. But I'm playing around with that. So those are the choices I'm working with. I don't know what I'll decide. I am really leaning towards the last option. But I do really like that Adalaide fiber co with it. Anyway, the other thing is I don't have a ton extra of the body or contrast to do any of the swatches. So I'm gonna swatch, I think, using this and then use the leftovers for something. Yeah, that's it. I will say this project is gonna get pushed to the side. It's a short sleeve cropped sweater. I'm going to be pushing more winter knits in my knitting in the next few months. Probably once holiday knitting happens, I'll work on some long sleeve cardigans. This episode is going to be so disjointed. I have been interrupted constantly, but boy, is that really how the homeschool life goes, because it feels like a normal day. So for homeschool life stuff, I really don't have much. This is gonna be a short episode, guys. Life feels busy again. Soccer takes up so much of our time and evenings. We're really doing school during the day and just life stuff, lessons, piano lessons we do during the day on Friday, and we do a few of those things during the day as well. But things have just really picked up. I cannot believe how quickly the next week feels like it's coming, even more than last year. Last year, we were still kind of taking a step back and slowing our life down. And now it feels like we're kind of picking up the pace again. And it's exhausting. So we're kind of behind on some of our stuff this week. Again, behind is whatever you want to make it. We don't only do an academic school year. We finish our stuff, even if it takes time in the summer. And that's because a lot of the stuff can be done one thing a day until we're done. And that's not bad. Like, my kids don't mind doing, 30 minutes here and there of school to finish it over the summer. So that's not it's a good system for us, because then we don't feel pressured, and we won't feel pressured all winter. This is the season of soccer. So this is the season where we are just busy and there all the time. In a perfect world, our soccer practices would be at the same time, but they are on different evenings, and Stella has 2. And then soccer games on the weekends. So that really eats up a chunk of our free time, because we're behind on a few things. And by behind, I mean we have 2 activities we were gonna do, one of which is a repeat of something we've done before in the past. So I'm not feeling anxious about it. It's fine. And the other one is like making applesauce, but we're doing the canning process, and that's the part of it that goes with our lab for prokaryotes, which is really cool. Anyway, none of those are amazingly important to the education they got this week, to be quite honest. They were last minute things, and they're things we can do that don't feel like school. So we like to fit those activities in when we have an afternoon. Mondays, we don't have things in the evening. It's like the only day that there is nothing at night, weekends included. And so when Mondays after school, usually they play with other neighborhood kids. Typically, I feel like Monday is always they play outside day, because everybody's tired of the first day of the week, I think. But after school and after outdoor time, these activities, like we can make applesauce after dinner one night. or on a weekend. So they're not strict. But again, after soccer is over, things calm down a little bit. And that's how life is. There are ebbs and flows and different seasons, and that's how it is with our schooling. There are ebbs and flows in our schooling, and that is so that we can absorb as much as possible when we're not ready to learn because we're burnt out. We're not absorbing as much, so we need breaks every once in a while. The last thing I want to talk about was we got to go see a concert, Flor de Toloache, and they are a all-female mariachi band. They were phenomenal. Their 5th CD is about to come out. They won a Latin Grammy on their 2nd CD. But most of the songs we heard, there were a few from the new CD, and then most of it was from what I'm assuming was their 4th CD. The reason I'm assuming that is because when I looked on Amazon Prime to see if any of their CDs were on there, one CD was available, which was probably the most recent one. Typically, that's how that goes. So I'm assuming that's there, and because it's a larger group. They grew over the years. It started off, there were 2 founders, and they've had a few extra players with them, but it's always been the 2 original. So they were phenomenal. We loved it. My kids loved it. I love being able to expose my children to different types of music. These tickets are tickets we got through my husband's job. The university had, I don't know if they sponsored getting them here or how that worked, or they just got some tickets for faculty. However that panned out, we got them through his job, and I really, really love being able to do that. Being able to expose them to things that we might not have tried otherwise. So that was really, really awesome, and we've already listened to their CD. It's fantastic. Highly recommend going and looking them up. But we also, the first part was a local dance group. So I'm not sure, they didn't have any programming or any information. So it was at a theater, it was at the Temple Theater in Saginaw, and there just weren't pamphlets, or at least we were not given a pamphlet when we came in, and I did not see them anywhere. So I don't know who this group was. I'm sure I can find that information, but it was a local dance group, and it was a traditional dance, Mexican dance group. It was amazing. I don't want to say Mexican, I'm sorry. It could have been Latin, I'm not sure. Again, I don't have that. There wasn't a pamphlet that I was reading off of, but they were awesome, and there were kids in it. They were so good. So we really enjoyed that too. And that was an added bonus. We didn't know we were going to get to see that. So yeah, that was great. But anyway, this has been a pretty low-key week. It's interesting because we homeschool. We don't always leave the house that much. Our schooling is at home. But it has been so busy. We have felt so busy even though we're just home. But that's what it is. I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope to see you guys next week. Bye.